Next, we're going to create some charts or graphs to display our data in 3 different ways. We're going to do a bar graph, a line graph, and an exploded pie graph. We'll be working with the data in columns D and E. We click on A, drag it over to column E, and then down. We've selected all the data in the 2 columns. Now we go up to Insert in the ribbon bar at the top of the page, click on Insert, go to Column Graph. We have many choices from which to choose. We're going to take the first choice. Simple is best when doing graphs. So we're going to start with simple. Here is our graph. We want to do a couple of things with this graph. First thing we want to do is get rid of this Series 1. We just click on it. Notice it turns into a text box, and we'll just click delete and it disappears. Next, we want to insert a title at the top of the chart. We'll do it this way this time around. We'll go up here and see there's a small title bar at the top of the chart. That's what we want. We have the chart title. Notice that this came back, so we're just going to delete it again. We click in chart title. We want to call our chart grade distribution. The words don't change immediately as I typed, but they do appear up here in the formula bar to let us know. We click enter and the title changes. We click outside of the text box and everything is fine. Now we want to change the color of the bars. We can just work with these, or if we click on the last of the arrows here in the corner, we get all the choices we have to make. I'm going to get fancy and make them shiny gold bars, and we have now changed the color of the bar. Now we'd like to label our vertical axis and our horizontal axis so people will know what they're looking at. We go up to Layout, click on the Layout tab, we go to Axis Titles. We click on the downward pointing arrow. First we'll label the horizontal axis. We'll do the title below the axis, and these are grades. Notice again, the letters don't show up immediately in the text box. They do show up here in the formula bar. When we hit enter, the word appears in the text box. Now we'll go back up to the axis and do the vertical axis title. We will do not a rotated title, we will not do a horizontal title, we will do a vertical title. Here we'll label this axis frequency. The letters appear up here in the formula bar. We click enter, and I just have to fix the extra space I have in there. I hit enter again, and we have frequency appearing. Now we have our graph. Our graph is a little big and it fills up the space. We'll just grab one of the handles. Notice the handles around. We'll grab one of the handles and we'll just resize the box, and we'll put it over here for right now. Okay, now we're going to do a line graph. When we left off, the data were selected, the grade distribution was here. We click outside of any cell that has any data in it to clear the selection. Then we go back and we make the selection over again. If we don't make the selection over again, when we make the new graph, it's going to simply change this graph. It will not create a separate graph. We go up to Insert, we go to Line Graph. Again, we make the first choice, the simple choice. We get our graph. First thing we want to do is change the color of the line. We go to see all our choices by clicking on the bottom selection button. Let's take this one. Notice our background turns a little bit darker, and the line assumes a nice vivid color. We're going to eliminate the legend once again, and we'll do a slightly different way of putting the chart title in. Notice I went up and selected the Layout tab, and here is a chart title window. I click above the chart and I enter the words grade distribution. Again, they don't appear on the chart until I hit enter, but they are visible in the function bar up on top. Now I want to insert my axis titles. Since we're already in layout, the axis title selection is visible. First we'll do the horizontal axis, title below the axis, grade, enter. Then we do the vertical axis, vertical title, vertical axis, vertical title, frequency. Enter, and we have frequency. Our graph is finished. We'll make this one a little smaller too, and we'll just put this over on the side. We'll clean this stuff up in just a moment. Now we're going to create a pie graph. The data were selected when we finished our grade distribution. We're going to click out of the selected data to clear it again, reselect the data because we want to hold on to the line graph. We go up to insert, we select pie graph. We're going to select the exploded pie graph here. Click on that and we get a very nice display. Up here in chart layouts we have a number of selections that we can make. We're going to select the second one. You can experiment with those. Notice that the percentages are displayed within the pieces of the pie. We will click on chart title and write in grade distribution. Enter. We'll eliminate the legend. The chart gets a little bit bigger. We don't need axes for a pie chart. We're essentially finished. Except in this choice, the first choice, it gives the grade along with the percentage. That's a better graph, isn't it? Let's leave that one. We're going to take this graph and make it a little smaller, and let's put it over here and bring it down a little bit. Let's bring it down a little bit more. Notice that if the pie pieces get too small to display the data, Excel automatically puts in arrows to improve the display for us. Now let's clean up these other two a little bit. First thing let's do is take care of this word frequency. We can select the text box, select the word in the text box, go up to home, and instead of displaying it in 10-point type, let's display it in 9-point type, and it fits within the box very neatly. And we'll just move the word up here so it displays very nicely. We have to do the same thing down here. We'll move it up. We'll select the word and change it to 9-point. 9-point is still too big. Let's change it to 8-point. Now let's make these boxes a little more even in size. We'll move this one over so they're lined up this way. This one's a little bit narrower than the one on top, so we'll even them up that way, and we'll make this one a little less wide so that we can bring this one up need to move this at all. The tops are pretty even. This bottom is a little bit bigger. So the boxes are all neatly displayed. We've got our frequency. All our axes are labeled nicely. Everything's labeled nicely here, and our chart is all finished.